free battery installation with purchase. Get you back on the road. See store for details. Advance Auto Parts. We're just not used to quarterbacks complaining. But when they have legitimate complaints, like Aaron Rodgers saying, can you give me a heads up? You got rid of Jordy Nelson, who can still play my best friend and a really good receiver and the quarterback coach. We kind of bristle at that. Whoa, Aaron Rodgers not being a good teammate. Aaron Rodgers is being timeout. You realize what you were when Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Crap. Aaron Rodgers has leverage. Aaron Rodgers, this is what leaders do. They say uncomfortable things. Sometimes Aaron Rodgers has to call out his front office. By the way, the Packers front office got rid of somebody, moved him upstairs. Why? They weren't doing a very good job. Okay, Big Ben came out this weekend. He doesn't like his team that needs real help on defense because Ryan Shazier got hurt. Ryan Shazier's career is over. Okay, he's not going to play anymore. When Ryan Shazier got hurt, he was an incredibly valuable player to that defense. They gave up 10 more points a game. All of their defensive numbers went into the tank. Their red zone defense plummeted. They gave up more than 10 points a game. It wasn't like they were playing the best offenses. They played Baltimore. They played Cleveland. They played Blake Bortles twice. They played Houston without Deshaun Watson. They were playing anemic offenses and couldn't stop anybody. Blake Bortles ate them alive twice. And they went out and drafted a wide receiver. They've got two of those. They're both amazing. They drafted an offensive lineman. They have a top 5 line in the league. By the way, they drafted a quarterback. They don't need one. Big Ben's younger than Tom Brady. And the Patriots didn't waste an early slot getting a quarterback. Here's Big Ben talking about the move, the pick. He didn't like it.
I was surprised when they took a quarterback because I thought that maybe in the third round, you can get some really good football players that can help this team now. And nothing against Mason. I think he's a great football player. I don't know him personally, but I'm sure he's a great kid. I just don't know how being the third round, who knows where he's going to fall in the depth chart, but helps us win now. But, that's not my decision to make. But I was a little surprised.
Yeah. So there was 3 drafts I didn't get. Seattle needs to rebuild their offensive line and their defensive front. They traded up to get a punter. I didn't get that. Raiders' O-line is their strength. They went heavy into O-line early in the draft. And I didn't really get Pittsburgh's draft. Of their first 4 picks, they got a wide receiver. They have the best receiver in the game and the best young receiver in the game. And I didn't get a quarterback, and nothing against a tackle, but they've got 2 Pro Bowlers on an offensive front. They need linebackers. They need corners. They need multiple pieces on defense. They don't need wide receivers, and they don't need a quarterback. And I have no problem with Big Ben. Big Ben's got 3 to 4 years left. He's not just now. He is their future. In the NFL, your future is 3 years down the road. Nobody in the NFL is worried about year 11 from today. Your presence now and next year, and then your future is the next 3 years after that. Big Ben's the quarterback probably in Pittsburgh for at least 3 more years. Pittsburgh doesn't need receivers. Seattle doesn't need a punter. They need to rebuild their offense and defensive lines, and the Raiders went heavy on the O-line, and I think it's actually the strength of the unit, the strength of the team. Joy with the news.
No. Heard on the news. This is the Herdline News.
Well, Colin, you mentioned Baker Mayfield just a few minutes ago. Saw our first glimpse of him in a Browns uniform a few days ago at rookie minicamp.
Yeah.
And he spent a lot of time working on snaps under center after practice. However, Hugh Jackson once again made it crystal clear that Tyrod Taylor is the team starter. Here's what he said.
I think it matters because, again, as I said, and I'm not going to back off of this, and we can keep writing this narrative, Tyrod Taylor's the starting quarterback of this football team. And that won't change. I don't want to even look back.
Okay,
I don't want to talk
just
about
having a guy who you know he's a starter, how's that going to help?
I mean, again, that's why we traded for him. That's what he's here for. He's here to lead this organization to winning. And I think Tyrod Taylor will do that. I'm very excited about Baker Mayfield. Glad he's on our football team. I'm very excited about Drew Stanton. I'm excited about our quarterback room in general. But it feels good to have a guy that I know has played in games in the National Football League in a tough division that we play in, and he's won.
For the record, Tyrod Taylor led the Bulls to a playoff game.
The Bills, yeah.
Okay, now, Tyrod's more of a C-plus guy. But in his last 43 starts, he's got 51 touchdown passes and 16 picks. Do you know touchdown-interception ratio? That's second to Tom Brady in the NFL.
Yeah, Tyrod's solid, but how long do you keep Baker on the bench?
Well, listen, Tyrod's not what you're going to build for 10 years, but
right.
This morning, Tyrod's a better NFL player than Baker Mayfield. Josh McCown today is not a better player than Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, a practice in's the best Jets quarterback. Right now, Tyrod's a better quarterback in the NFL than Baker Mayfield because he doesn't throw many interceptions, and he gets touchdowns, and he's mobile, and he's seen, by the way, every defense in the AFC a couple of times. So Baker's going to play very early. That's just the reality of it. Here's what's interesting. Baker, he's a smart kid, right? They say very good in the room. Baker could have some real success in September, October. What's interesting is Baker may end up starting in November, December, where a little guy in really bad, crappy weather, and then you get into the heart of the schedule against the Steelers and the Ravens, and my guess is Baker gets it post-Thanksgiving. Post-Thanksgiving, they give Baker the job.
Well, Cleveland did know that it was cold in Cleveland when they drafted him, and now how tall he was. I have very strong feelings about teams drafting quarterbacks with the top 10 pick and then not starting them right away, because I do understand there's a human element to sports. Hugh Jackson, 131. That's bad. He wants to keep his job. Does he have a better chance of keeping his job if he starts Tyrod Taylor, who, as you mentioned, is solid?
There's no question.
And they make a vast improvement from winning no games to, say, 5?
No.
Or do you risk it with Baker Mayfield? But guess what? He's the number 1 overall pick, so you got to play him. Well, he's the future. Do you get better at playing football by watching other people play football or by playing football?
Generally playing. I will say this. This is a very interesting point you bring up, is that Hugh Jackson's the coach. Coaches want to win games. So Hugh Jackson's an offensive coach. Not that you would sabotage it, but you could. There's no question if you're Hugh Jackson and you're like, I want my veteran to start initially, you could make the offense a little more sophisticated, where Tyrod Taylor has played in certain elements of this NFL offense.
Right.
But if I'm Hugh Jackson, I want Tyrod Taylor to start.
Of course, but just say that. Don't pitch me that you really want Baker to sit back and learn. This isn't Brett Favre and
Hugh
Aaron
wants to
Rodgers.
win games.
You want to win games, which is fine. Just don't lie to me. Speaking of new quarterbacks, before the NFL draft last month, an unnamed NFL offensive coordinator said that Lamar Jackson would not be able to play quarterback in the NFL because of his inaccuracy issues. They wanted him to try and be wide receiver. But he was drafted by the Ravens in the first round, and after the team's rookie minicamp, John Harbaugh talks about how accurate Jackson actually was. Here he is.
The thing I was really impressed with is I thought he was accurate. You read the reports and stuff like that, but he's a naturally talented thrower. He's got natural arm talent. So that's something that I think people were questioning. So to see him out here throwing the ball naturally, very accurately, I thought was a big plus.
By the way, Lamar has been accurate at times in college and got better every year. The bigger risk to me, the guy in this draft that's a bust and was overdrafted potentially, is Josh Allen, who is never accurate. Lamar on short routes over the middle of the field, the numbers tell you, under Bobby Petrino, he was a very accurate thrower. Now, outside the numbers, does he run too much? Yes. My question with Lamar is, it's mental. Can on third down, Joy, in high school and college, when he got in trouble, he's gone. Can he flip a switch so on third down, the pocket's getting tight, he just sits in there and, mentally, he has made a decision, I'm staying in the pocket. Michael Vick and I have had the conversations. When you get a gift, and Michael was gifted athletically, and it works in high school, and it works at college, Michael's like, listen, man, I was 3-4 years into the NFL, and I was like, I don't need to sit in this pocket. To me, for Lamar, it's all mental. Can he convince himself, listen, man, I want to develop as a pocket guy. So on 3rd and 8, I'll have some success running, but I got to just sit in here and make some mistakes, because you cannot win for 10 years in this league running on 3rd and 8.
Right.
You have Russell Wilson. It took him a few years, but Steve Young. It took Steve Young a few years, and finally Steve's like, these hits hurt. I'm going to stand in here and take some shots. the detriment of the moment, but it's a long play.
Right. It's funny that you mentioned Michael Vick because a lot of people are comparing him to Michael Vick, which I think if you're the Ravens, you have to like that would be a successful pick if you end up with the next Michael Vick.
Right.
But to your point, Baker Mayfield was the most accurate quarterback in college, and that is the knock on quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks, that if you are inaccurate in college, you will likely be more inaccurate in the NFL because everything is faster. You have to throw people open as opposed to throwing to the open receiver.
In smaller windows. So it's a very fair criticism but I will say this, Lamar Jackson got more accurate every year. Josh Allen was just inaccurate.
Listen, all you can ask for is them to get better. So finally, Josh Rosen, you remember the story from the Browns VP of Player Personnel, Alonzo Highsmith, about Josh Rosen. Highsmith ran into the UCLA women's volleyball team head coach at LAX and asked him his thoughts on Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
And the coach said, I don't know, ask his girlfriend. So apparently that was a red flag. We love red flags around draft time. Red flags. Who saw that as a red flag for Rosen. And Rosen was asked about that red flag, and here's what he had to say about that bizarre story.
I thought it was interesting he didn't talk to my girlfriend. Maybe he was scared of someone actually saying something good about me. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. It's amazing that you can pull a red flag from something with literally zero information. Like, he literally pulled absolutely no information from his encounter, and it managed to be a red flag.
Here's what's interesting about this. Okay, Joey, let's do a role play. You are the Browns executive, and I am the UCLA volleyball coach, and this is an airport. So you ask, because my question is, how did he say it? Okay, so you're the Browns executive. You come up and ask me the question.
Hey, Coach, what do you think of Josh Rosen?
He's just his girlfriend. She's right over there. Or,
hey, Coach, what do you think of Josh Rosen?
Ask his girlfriend.
Right,
No
right.
thanks.
Two totally different encounters.
Yeah, I mean, if a guy's just like, the girlfriend's right over there, go ask. That's just like, that'd be funny. Like, go ask his girlfriend. That's ironic. It's like, oh, that's weird. You're asking me about.
I think it's just Josh Rosen's reputation. Like, he's one of those guys that no matter what is said about him, it's going to get twisted into a different story. Like he said, it's like everyone's looking for a red flag about him. It's up to him to change that narrative, I guess. But he has a little bit of like that Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
I don't consider arrogance to be a bad thing in professional sports or in sports in general. Like, you don't get to that level without being a little arrogant.
Yeah.
But he has a little bit of that in him.
Yeah, And by the way, the person I always compare Rosen to is Aaron Rodgers. I think he's a Jared Goff. Aaron Rodgers are Josh Rosen's two comps, and I think those are.
You can live with that.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't get hurt, durability's an issue. Josh Rosen's going to be really successful. If he's healthy, very little chance to bust in this league. Joy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
And by the way, I was thinking about this. I get asked this from time to time. And I'll be at the car wash or I'll be at the store. And I live in Los Angeles, so there's obviously a lot of Laker fans here. And people say to me, this is the question I get asked all day. When I am out, people say, do you really think LeBron's going to come here? And I say the same thing. I didn't grow up in Los Angeles. I wasn't a natural Laker fan. But when I lived in Tampa, I did like the Buccaneers. And when I lived in Connecticut, I liked UConn basketball and the Patriots. And as a kid, I grew up liking the Portland Trail Blazers or the Seahawks. I tend to I'm a chameleon that way. Wherever I move, if I'm there for any duration, running Rebels. You start covering people and liking people and kind of rooting for local people to do well. But, it's interesting when people ask me, do you think LeBron will come to Los Angeles? And my takeaway is always, well, God, I hope so. Folks, A-Rod to the Yankees, Nick Saban to Alabama, KG to the Celtics, Wayne Gretzky to the LA Kings. You do get the world explodes. Those are great, great moments for sports fans. Do you realize what the LeBron to the Lakers press conference would look like? Here's a full screen. Can you imagine Magic Johnson and LeBron James, boy, his shoulders look small there, announcing he's a Laker? Shaq to the Lakers, LeBron to the Miami Heat. Joy, you lived in that world. You were doing radio in Miami. It is so much fun. And for the record, I completely get if you grow up in a town and you never leave the town, and you marry your high school sweetheart, and you love the same drive to the same company. I get that. That's 40% of America statistically. Never leave a hometown, marry your high school sweetheart. I understand being a creature of habit. I get it. I like habits. I like routine. But I want chaos in my sports. I want drama in my sports. I want car fires. I want divorces. I want egos. I like movement. And I tell people, listen, man, I'm watching LeBron right now in Cleveland. And my takeaway is LeBron's too damn good for Cleveland. He's too good for that owner. He's too good for this roster. Frankly, he's too big for the city. Like when Shaq left Orlando had good players. He was just too big for Orlando. Shaq was going to dominate the league. And I also root for history. I really enjoy history. If LeBron James, look what he's doing in year 15 now. Okay, in year 15, Dr. J was retired, and Magic was retired, and Oscar Robertson was retired, and Bird was retired. In year 15, Michael Jordan was a marginal player. He was shooting 29% from threes, giving you 3 assists a game, 20 a game, bad defender, shooting 44%. Okay, LeBron goes to the Lakers. Magic Johnson, Lonzo Ball, LeVar Drama, young Lakers, huge brand, challenging now with Paul George joining him, the Warriors. We all win on that. Like, nothing against Philadelphia, but the Lakers are the brand of note in this league. Can you imagine this press conference? Good God, folks. The world would explode. So, yes, do I root for drama? All the time. You know, I said it before. I wanted to see Sam Darnold with the New York Giants at the number 2 pick. And then I got Carson Wentz and Sam Darnold and the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Cowboys have Dak, and it's like, I don't want him ending up in the AFC South. I want Sam Darnold in New York. USC to New York. It's huge. It's big. It's tire fire. But of course I want to see LeBron in Los Angeles because it's a huge, massive story. KG to the Celtics was a talking point. LeBron in Miami, A-Rod to the Yankees was a talking point for 5 years. That's what we're looking for. By the way, let me talk for a second about Philadelphia and Boston. Philadelphia is trying to avoid a sweep tonight. Philadelphia, for the record, is doing a lot right in this series. Okay, Philadelphia is out-rebounding Boston. Philadelphia leads Boston in second chance points. They lead them in points in the paint. They average more assists per game, more fast break points per game. Okay, Philadelphia is doing a lot right in this series. So I know everybody's freaking out, and it could be a sweep. I do think Philly wins tonight. But this is not like Houston, Utah, where you feel like, oh, we have ourselves a mismatch of talent. This is not Golden State against the Pelicans. Outside of Anthony Davis, who we have ourselves a mismatch problem. These two teams here, Philadelphia's got a problem, though. And this problem is not going away. I said this last week. I love Ben Simmons, and I really like the future. But there's some issues with Philadelphia. They got to upgrade. And not with a marginal player, not with a J.J. Redick. They got to upgrade. Markelle Fultz could be a bust. Embiid is a big that gets hurt. Ben Simmons is never going to be an elite shooter. And frankly, Boston's got the better coach. He may be worth 6 to 8 points per game. So I really, really like the Philadelphia story, and I think they win tonight. But you start looking at this, and, you know, the Magic Bird thing, in the end, Magic had Kareem. Magic had better players, and generally considered the better coach. This is an Ali Frazier thing to me, is that Philadelphia is going to have to, in the offseason, make a seismic move to catch up. Because I got news for you. Boston will make a bid on Kawhi Leonard. The Celtics going to make a bid on him. They'll give you Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving. I really believe this. and they'll go with Terry Rozier, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kawhi Leonard, and Al Horford, and they'll be fine with it. But when I'm watching this Boston thing, you know what it feels like to me, Boston, Philly? It feels like Mickelson's great, but he played in Tiger's prime. And Frazier was great, but he was in Ali's prime. And the Steelers are great, but they're in Brady's prime. And that's what this has a feeling. So Philadelphia, watch this game tonight. Boston's only getting better. The Sixers have to, in this offseason, make a radical, athletic Kawhi Leonard on the wing change. To me, or else this is just going to be Phil Mickelson and Tiger for a decade. Dante Jones around the corner. Folks, the countdown to Mother's Day is real. It is May 13th. This is not a drill. You've got 6 days left to get Mom a beautiful, gorgeous bouquet from 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, if you order a dozen sorbet roses, they'll give you an extra half dozen and a free base starting at $29.99. Pastel shades, beautiful mix, orange, lavender. Guaranteed to make her smile. And you know what they do? At 1-800-Flowers, they're always picked at their peak from premium farms and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. 1-800-Flowers.com, code HERD. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code HERD. 18 sorbet roses and a vase starting at $29.99. 1-800-Flowers.com, code HERD.